He dumped me because I didn't understand science. But what he didn't realize was that I understood enough to end his entire career. And 20 years later, I just made sure it stayed that way. If you've ever wanted to watch karma unfold with surgical precision, you're in the right place. This story is about betrayal, justice, and one woman's brilliantly quiet takedown of a man who thought he was untouchable. So hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in. This is going to be deeply satisfying. Back in the 90s, I was just a college student chasing love and a fresh start. That's when I met Jake, a 23-year-old animal sciences grad student with a charming smile and a house full of quirky pets. He had this energy, confident, ambitious, like he was going somewhere important. And I was falling fast. We had it all planned out. He was moving across the country for grad school, and I'd be just 90 minutes away. It felt like fate. We bonded over tacos, weekends filled with laughter, and lazy Sundays surrounded by the humming of fish tanks and animal cages. I even grew close to his family, his sisters, his brother, even his academic advisor's wife, Mary, who quickly became a mentor and friend. I adored him. I believed in him. I never thought he'd turn out to be the kind of man who'd betray everything we'd built. One night, as we lay tangled in sheets after a weekend visit, Jake turned to me and dropped a bomb. "You've gained weight," he said. "It's hard to be attracted to you. No concern for my health. No kindness. Just cold, blunt vanity." I had gained maybe 10 pounds since we met. Still fit, still healthy, but apparently that was too much for his fragile ego. I looked at him and said flatly, "Then maybe don't feed me crackers and cheese every weekend." I wasn't about to beg for his affection. I wasn't going to break down over 10 pounds. But in that moment, something inside me shifted. I saw him clearly for the first time. Not as a partner, but as a coward, too spineless to own up to what was really going on. A few months later, he called to break up. His reason? "You don't know enough about science." That was it. Not the weight, not the distance, just my lack of scientific knowledge. Except, I knew that was BS. Eventually, he confessed. He'd been sleeping with one of his 19-year-old students, Meg. He was 26, her teacher, and he wanted me gone without having to be the bad guy. What stung most? I'd met Meg before. Once at a barbecue, she spilled something on her pants, and Jake asked if I could lend her sweats. I couldn't. I was a size 8. She was a size 18. So much for his little speech about weight being a turnoff. Turns out he wasn't repulsed. He just needed an excuse to cheat. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I laughed. Laughed at how pathetic he was. And then, I emailed his roommates to thank them for their kindness. Turns out, they'd known about the affair. They were ready to out him themselves if he hadn't done it. One of them, George, sweet, smart, and ridiculously cute, invited me to come collect my things. He said, "Let's go out. Let's drink. Let's give Jake a night to remember." And oh, we did. I arrived in a tight dress, had a wild night out, and came back tipsy with George carrying me through the door. Jake and Meg were on the couch. I made sure they heard everything. George played his part, parading around in boxers, laughing like we didn't have a care in the world. The next morning, Jake snarled, "You didn't have to act like a whore." I just smiled, took a bite of my donut, and said, "Have fun with my leftovers." That was the appetizer. But petty wasn't enough. Jake had endangered animals in his home, some illegal to own, one endangered. He was sloppy, reckless, and I'd paid attention. I took photos, documented every violation. Then I called the state's Fish and Wildlife Department. But I wasn't done. George and the other roommate filed formal complaints to the university. Jake was a TA sleeping with a student and showing her blatant favoritism. We made sure the entire department knew. It spread like wildfire. Then I made one more call to Mary, his advisor's wife. She'd always liked me. She was livid when she saw Jake's email confessing to the affair. Her husband was Jake's advisor. The investigation started that same day. Weeks later, George called me laughing. They're here. Fish and Wildlife. They're confiscating everything. Meg was there, panicking. Jake wasn't. No cell phones back then. She had to drive to campus to warn him. Too late. The university cut his funding. The EPA pulled his $30,000 grant. He had to repay it in full. Fined $15,000. Lost every animal. Scholarship revoked. Teaching job gone. The best part? The university let him stay, barely. He graduated with a master's instead of a PhD, crawling away with his tail between his legs.
He never knew it was me.
He never suspected a thing. I stayed in touch with his siblings. They thought we broke up because of distance until I forwarded them the real emails. Turns out, Jake had lied to everyone. And his sister? She told him at her bridal shower, "I don't make a habit of being friends with homewreckers." Even Jake's parents finally learned the truth. A decade too late. 2 decades passed. I built a career helping scientists explain their work to people like me, those too dumb for science, apparently. I traveled, lectured, grew into someone I'm proud to be. Then one day, I'm speaking at a major university, giving a lecture, and I hear a voice behind me. "Hey, Opie, long time no see." It was Jake. I didn't blink, just smiled and said, "Sorry, do I know you from a past seminar?" His face fell. "It's me, Jake." I gasped, Oscar-worthy.
Oh, right. Wow.
I must have blocked you out. I moved on, smiling, calm, untouched. Later, over dinner with the faculty, they mentioned Jake had applied for a teaching position. I couldn't help it. I laughed, then casually said, "He left his last program after getting caught sleeping with a student. Lost his scholarship and grant. I'm surprised he's even still in academia." They went silent, took notes, promised to look into it. That weekend, Mary called. The university had done a background check, found the old complaints, the loss of his scholarship, the arrest record for the animals, everything. That teaching job? Gone. And Jake? Still clueless that I had nudged the universe twice. Jake lost everything he'd ever worked for, his career, his reputation, his shot at redemption, because he thought I was too stupid to matter. But I never lied. I never stooped to his level. I just told the truth. To the right people. At the right time. And that's the thing about revenge. It tastes even sweeter when it's quiet, clean, and completely legal. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. When someone who claims to love you shames your body or undermines your worth, it's not about you. It's about their own broken reflection. And sometimes the best revenge is letting karma do the heavy lifting with just a little help. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories just like this. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? I'll be reading every one.